Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Down Over, episode number 22.
Yes, 22.
22. My gosh, Jeff, where's the time gone by?
I don't know. We're already into March, and it just seems like yesterday that it was the beginning of 2014.
I know, it's pretty amazing. I know, the year will be over and we'll go, what happened?
That's right.
Well, let's run our intro.
Okay.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back. And this is Tech Down Over. We're so glad you could join us. I'm Rick Zanotti, and next to me is our perennial co-geek, our co-host.
Oh.
It is Jeff Blanchard from Down Under. He's in Melbourne, Australia. I'm up here in Southern California. So, Jeff, have you been watching all the interesting announcements from, what was it, Mobile World Conference or whatever they call it?
Well, I've been listening to a few different things, but I haven't been watching it, hour on hour, but I've been looking with interest a couple of the different things I've got on mobile phones now with the new Galaxy, what's it, S6?
The S6.
S6, which was quite an interesting change for that. And one of the things, I don't know about you, but one of the big points with the Galaxies and the Notes were also that you could take the back off, remove the battery.
Not anymore.
Put an extra battery in, so you didn't have to worry about the time, the running time. Also, a micro SD card to expand the memory. You could do that.
And not anymore. So what they're doing is they're copying Apple. So I guess when you have nothing to strive for, you just go backwards and do what your competitor is doing, because that makes no sense to me.
Well, the funny thing was, we're talking about technology, and all the different people around the place who do talk technology on a bit more higher level than we do, they've been talking about, the differences between phones for years and saying how great the Samsung is because you've got the extra battery and the extra memory. And now those same people are saying, oh, no, really not that bad. It's better having the internal memory. We don't need, I've got a better battery. And I'm just getting a bit confused. They're sort of switching their allegiance a bit.
Yeah, it makes no sense because that's, like you said, that's one of the main reasons why you went and got an Android. You have extra batteries. You have SD card expansion. You've got faster phones. And now they're taking a step backwards. And from what I've read, I think you made the comment too, they're now looking very much alike or closer in style.
Definitely, and there's an article out there that we'll leave in the show notes talking about how similar they look to the iPhone. And one of the things with the S6, which was intriguing that I heard on it, I thought the fingerprint reader on the Galaxy, unlike ours, the Note 4, you have to swipe it.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but how many times do you usually swipe yours? Not once.
Not often.
But I'm doing it never does it the first time. But now the new Galaxy S6 has a touch ID, which I thought that was all locked down to Apple. But they must have the similar sort of technology, so that will be interesting to see. And with that, they've also included an Edge version. I wasn't aware that their other Edge version did very well at all.
It didn't. In fact, the Note 4 had the Edge, and I think nobody knows it.
No.
Nobody bought it. A lot of people said it's not worth the extra $100.
No, so I was a bit strange why they went down and did a new one for the S6. Anyway, so
yeah. Also, it's only for very young people because it's very hard for most people to look down and read the side of their phone, which is in probably 6-point type.
But they have have internal storage. I think was 129 megs is the biggest storage. So pretty similar to the iPhone and the same sort of dimensions to that. But it will be an interesting thing to see. But with that, as I said, one of my other things I saw on the net this week was SanDisk did a 200 gigabyte micro SD card.
200 gig, nice.
Yeah. it was not. But one of the things I think they're aiming it for is the phone market. Now the poor devils,
Well, they had
of them are going,
120.
well,
They
you
had
can't put them in
120.
there.
Now they had a 128 gig card, which they use for, and I think there's one. I thought there was now a 256 card, but they're extremely expensive. They're like $500 or more for them. So is this for video only, or is it for phones?
Well, it's a micro SD, but it's
Okay.
What is it? The class one, the UHS one.
Right,
So it's
okay.
the lowest speed, isn't it? That's the three's the highest speed.
Right.
So I think it's more aimed at the phone market.
Interesting.
That's what they're saying with what does it say? The 90 megabytes a minute transfer
Well,
rate.
that's
or something
that's pretty
like
good.
that.
That'll get you HD transfer and 4K transfer.
But I'm just amazed at just the size of it, because some hard disks were never that big in the first place, and just to be able
I
to
know.
have it on such a memory disk is just
Well,
quite
just
unusual.
to age myself, I had the original IBM PC with 10 megabytes of data. 10. Count them.
10?
10 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes.
I
And
can
that,
beat
and that drive would
I-
cost about $200 to $400 back then.
I remember, because when you said an IBM PC, the things that you bought through the IBM was outrageously expensive
Oh, yeah.
compared to the IBM compatible stuff that wasn't compatible with an IBM.
That's right. my first IBM PC cost $3,200 with 2 floppy drives.
Well, I'll tell you what, I beat you for that with one of my earlier Apples. It had 128K.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
And 2 floppy drives.
Yeah.
And then I thought I'd died and gone to heaven when I got the Mac SE,
Those
which
were
had
the good old
20
days.
megabytes. And I thought, what on earth would you want all that? How
I
are you
know.
ever going to fill that?
Yep, I know. There was
And
one
he-
time I remember being at a customer site, and we had the refrigerator size computers in those days. They were called mini computers, and they would run companies. And this one had a bad hard drive or something. And the guy comes out to repair it, and he goes, ever since they started really spinning these things that fast, those letters just keep sliding off the hooks. and the people there were going, really? Yeah, they got all these little millions of little hooks. It's hard to keep them on when they go this fast. Wow. So what do you do? He goes, we just put them in a can, and eventually the magnets will sort them out. And she believed it. It was funny. And I'm looking at him going, really? Really? All those little hooks, huh?
It's funny. I was watching some old TV shows, and like you're saying old, but it's 1990, and it looks like so ancient. You see, they've got this huge box that takes up 3/4 of the desk, and it's the it's only the terminal. And I thought,
Oh, yeah, that's how they were. Well, you know what I like? Even today, 2015, every time they show computer rooms, they show spinning discs.
yeah, that's right.
Spinning tape. They don't use tape anymore.
But it's the same thing like the icon, isn't it?
Yeah.
On computers, when you hit the save icon, it's a floppy disk.
Yes.
And like most of the people who are clicking on that save don't even know what that item is.
I know. That's hilarious.
And it's
Have you thought about that?
So,
When you hit the save icon, it's a floppy disk, which hasn't
It's a-
existed in 15, 20 years almost.
but it's saying that was one of the things that how important it is to get an icon. It said nobody
And nobody's changed it.
but everybody knows that means save. And, everybody knows a little picture of the crummy little house means go home.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. They probably would have been
it's,
safer to make it something like a little file cabinet or something. Then it's perennial. It could be forever. But instead, it's a floppy.
That's right. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what does Apple use, because usually Apple use something different. I think they have the same thing. I'm not too sure on that.
Well,
so.
Apple, I'm trying to think. I can't think of any icon they use for save. Actually, that's because they don't save anything. It just gets all thrown away. That's
That's
what
right.
they-
They're probably
Nothing
just
is as important as their operating system. That's all.
Well, no, it's that smart. It just saves by itself.
It
You don't
does.
need to
Some
do
of them
that.
do.
That's right. But then but that's one of the things with say like Final Cut Pro. That's one of the things I don't like about it. I don't like it saving everything straight away.
Because sometimes you don't want to save.
No, sometimes, but you can. I've just figured you can go back to your different iterations on there somehow. But
Yeah.
I still like Premiere Pro, where it saves, but it saves a version of it, and you
And
can still
keeps-
decide whether to
Right.
save it.
Yeah, that's actually nicer in a lot of ways. Now, speaking of Premiere Pro, and we didn't get a screenshot of this because I forgot to send it to Clark, but there is a new version of Corel Video Studio Pro X8, 64-bit now, and it is darn nice. I mean, it's amazing what it can do. And for $100, $99 or 70 something for the upgrade, it is a really good video editing package. I'm going to do a review on it later on for Tech Down Over. But you know what? For simple editing, it's beautiful. It does a great job. It's not that hard that a beginner couldn't do it, and yet it's got enough power for advanced people.
I'm going to stop looking at these different video editing things because it upsets me a bit that something nice and cheap like that does such a good job.
They're amazing, and they have almost the same features. It's got chroma keying, it's got picture-in-picture, it's got templates. It's really cool. You can do all sorts of stuff and create your own things too.
What have you seen? What do you think of the was it the Wirecast one? What's that? Their version of a screen capture one.
Oh,
I had
the
it in my
desktop
mind.
presenter?
It's just no. It's
a ScreenFlow.
ScreenFlow. I had it just then. Yeah, but theirs goes for about $99.
Yeah, I have it on my Mac. It's okay.
Yeah, they've got a bundle going out that throwing away with a lot of other things there for just the $99. But that looks okay. But
it's okay. I'm a little more used to Camtasia, but that's only because I've used Camtasia for so long.
And I think that's quite similar to Camtasia. So I think if you've got Camtasia, I don't think you'd want to.
That's true. I have both, but I haven't used ScreenFlow that much, only for lack of time and effort. But it looks actually pretty good, and I can usually tell they have some nice little, when you click on things, they give you nice animations, and it's pretty good. A lot of people like using ScreenFlow. You can usually tell because it always runs on a Mac.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But as I said, Larry sort of likes that one as well for another little working bench, I think.
Well, by the way, we did get one comment on Vimeo of Larry's show where he was putting down 4K.
Yes.
And the person goes, Larry, and just started telling him why 4K is better.
Right.
I got to send you that one. It was funny.
Well, that would be good. But it's one of those things that now, whether you like it or not, you cannot produce a camera now that does not have 4K. Whether you need it or not, nobody's going to
And you know what? Canon and Nikon attest to that. They're losing sales right and left to other cameras.
Yeah, because they're 100 and that isn't a 4K. And around that price, around that $5,000,
you can get a Panasonic GH4 a lot cheaper, half the price, and it does beautiful 4K. Or even the FZ1000 does great 4K. Let's not even talk about the HCX1000, which we both have. That does amazing 4K.
And the thing is, with that one that I like, with that one, it's predominantly a 4K camera, so it actually has better running time just recording in 4K than it does on 1080p, because it downgrades from 4K to 1080p, doesn't it?
I know, it's amazing. It's really amazing what they do with that.
And the thing is, with 4K, whether you want it or not, you really should be filming it for archival purposes, because you could go back to it in 5 or 6 years when everything's 4K TVs and 4K streaming at a drop of a hat because the speed's got there. You're going to need it eventually. And like, I'll look at some of my earlier videos on 8mm tapes and how cruddy they are. And I would like to do something with them, but if I could look back at my videos now 20 years later, and on the 4K, you could get some really good quality of things 20 years later, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Now, it's funny. Have you ever gone back to YouTube or something and looked at some of the old Betamax or VHS type recordings from shows that were done on TV back in the 70s? They look awful.
Oh, they do. Well, it's a funny thing. It's every day I come home from work, the first thing I do is switch the TV on to catch the 5 o'clock news. And the last thing I get is the last 5 minutes of The Bold and the Beautiful. Right. And, I've been doing that. And so I've seen that it's been on and off, for 40-odd years or however long it's been going. But it just, with you just mentioning that, I just thought, well, there's something different about it, because back in the 80s it used to be woeful and that, but now I like watching a bit of it because it has some really great shots of Los Angeles. So really go to the quality. I said maybe I don't follow the story.
They took it out of the studio.
Yeah, the quality of the shots that they have, the film on location that was in Amsterdam but I thought, gee, the quality of some of these really cheap dramas that they did. It's not just the cheap. They're trying to really entice the people. They're like proper little films now.
It's
so
true.
The quality has improved. Whether you like, and try to stop not watch more than 10 minutes before the news, or else I'll get stuck into the story. And you can't.
So now
have
you had
that.
some other stuff that you were going to talk about on either phones, or I think there was one war going on right now between Samsung and HTC.
Well, that's what I've been hearing. A few bits about that. The HTC, that there's quite a few people saying that is still probably going to be the flagship phone and the phone to go for.
Yep.
But you've had that one before, haven't you, Rick? The HTC.
I had the HTC One Max, and it's funny, when I got the Note 4, within a week I was really missing my old HTC One Max. It was just a beautiful screen. It felt nice. It was an attractive phone. And at first I didn't like it, and then I grew to love it. It's sort of interesting. I'm not loving my Note 4. It's okay. I like it. Do I love it? No. I don't like the OS that much. I like the Sense OS on the HTC better. It's just more streamlined. It looks better. And so that's why I think I missed the HTC. And the specs on the new HTC are pretty darn high. So I think they're going to give Samsung a good run for the money. And HTC's always been considered one of the better phone manufacturers. So we'll see. They were having a hard time for a while, but it looks like with the M8 and now the M9, they're going to really bounce back again.
Well, I'd heard from the only thing that sort of held it back before was it had a very 3 megapixel camera or something,
Yes.
something
And then
really
I think,
pathetic.
is it 20 now?
But it's 20. And so that was the only thing that was holding it back. And whether you use it or not, people want that. They want a top.
They do.
And they might never get it out and take a picture. But if you tell them you've got a 3 megapixel camera, why couldn't you afford the better one? So even if just to say they've got a 20 megapixel camera, you need to have that. But I'm glad to that, because I like the looks of their phones, and I'd like to see them go forward. One of the other things that I was talking about in that was some of the things that they said that people hated about Apple phones, and now they're all doing in the other ones. Like they were saying that they didn't like the fact that you couldn't remove batteries on Apple phones. It says, how horrible. Well, it's pretty hard to get a phone now with that Samsung 6 to have a removable battery. And then they're saying, how stupid can you get having glass on the front and the back of your phone?
And now they're all doing that.
Well, that V6 has got the glass on the back. On the S6 has got the glass on the back. So it's strange how innovation and people rubbishing it become the natural thing. And I know I've been caught with that myself. You say, how ridiculous is that? And then then the next month you love it. You want it yourself.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the manufacturers tend to all follow each other like sheep. So one does it, they all have to do it.
Well, that's right. That's right, and it may not be right, but if they don't, they're all. Well, look at that classic thing of beta and VHS.
Yep.
Sony said we're not doing anything, but they lost the market until they knuckled under and did a VHS. Yet beta was still a better quality, but it just wasn't the marketing.
It didn't win, and it was
too
too big, and it was more expensive, and all the other issues. And that's typical Sony, though. Sony's always been marginating themselves. They're the worst competition.
But the things like Pioneer used to be the best. I always thought the Pioneer was the best in sound, but they've sort of nearly disappeared off the face of the earth
they
these
don't do
days.
much. Well, you know what? Ever since the iPod, stereo systems have started disappearing. You don't make I don't know how well Bang & Olufsen does. Remember them from the 60s and 70s? They were wow. Everybody wanted a Bang & Olufsen. And now you don't really hear about them much anymore. You've got Bose has come up. They've really done a good job because everything pretty much attaches to some sort of device. So the devices are running everything. They don't have the best electronics on earth, but they sound pretty good.
But that's another thing with technology and with sound and video. I remember years ago, like you said, I used to have the little 3-in-1 stereo, which was small speakers, and all you dreamed about was getting your 4-foot speakers with your 12-inch woofers and your huge one, so you could get a big sound. And now people are happy to listen to it on their phone.
I know.
And I mean, I would have thought they don't want the quality, they just want the portability. Same thing with video. I remember, if you only had a 14-inch portable television, that was horrible.
I know.
And they get bigger. No, the TVs are bigger, but now people are happy with their 6-inch phone to watch videos on.
Isn't that funny?
It's just strange how the world's changed. And same thing with mobile phones. I was there in the beginning when you had the mobile phone that wasn't mobile. It was stuck in the car.
Oh, right. I had one of those.
And then we progressed to have, you had a porta pack on the side that weighed about 10 kilos to have the phone on the top so you could cart it round like a fool, like a big suitcase. And then we had the brick, which was a huge like like a military walkie-talkie.
I had one of those. Yep. It was like a shoe phone.
And then we went to, I remember with Samsung, because they came out with this real nice, cute little phone, and everybody said, "Oh, they're so small," and they were about $1,000, really small. Then they turned to digital again. Then they started getting bigger, bigger. Now it's gone the other way. So, why would you want a small phone? But these other ones will get that small.
I think I'm going to hold out for the 28-inch iPhone when it comes out.
I'm just going to say that. Hello. Well, I'm going to get the iMac here and just pull it to me here and just take that around there. So, well, it'd be a bit like the what do they call them? When the kids used to have the stereos on the shoulder.
Oh yeah, the big boom box. And believe me, some of them were about 36-inch boom boxes. You guys are running around with.
But now what they'll have is the iMac on the shoulder. Hey, hey,
that'd
dude.
be funny.
And hey, I've got a call coming in. It'll be a Skype call or something. Oh, but if we could change the world, Rick, we'd have some fantastic inventions, wouldn't we?
We would. It'd be fun.
We just need the tens of millions of dollars.
Now speaking of fantastic inventions, what do you think of Android Wear or all of the new watches and everything else? At first I said I'm never going to get one. But now I'm seeing some that are actually classy. They look nice. They look sporty or luxurious. LG has a beautiful one. There's some other ones that have really pretty watches. And I'm going, maybe I do want one of them, because not all of them are really heavy into a million buttons. Some of them just give you some verbal alerts and stuff, but they look nice. And I'm thinking of getting one. I'm not sure which one yet, but the LG is appealing. What do you think? Do you think you'll wear one day?
I think, I was just thinking this the other day. I was walking the dog and listening to something about these wearable items, and I thought, no, I'm not interested in that. But like you said, if you have something that will tell, I'm old-fashioned. I want a watch to tell me time as well.
Yes,
that's the number one thing. But it's like the phone. The last thing people want to do is make a phone call.
Well, all you have to do now is even if you have a watch on, all you have to do is press a button. It would say, the time is 8:54 p.m.
But then again, I remember back in the 70s when the first digital watch came out. You pressed a button and the red light came on. It said 10:30, and but you couldn't see it in the daylight or anything.
Right? No, only inside of theaters where they would all turn on at the same exact time. You'd be sitting in a movie theater. It's whatever time it was, and the theater's crowded, and it is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Beep, bop, bop, beep, bop, bop, ding, dun, 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 dun,
That's right, because we used to make
that went on for about 5 minutes
or every hour.
And it went on for a good 5 minutes because nobody had their watches set to the right time.
No, that's right. So
it was obnoxious. So then the theaters all started saying, "Please turn your digital watch off." Oh. So they would do that, and then what else would you hear? Beep. Beep, beep. Oh, sorry, my pager went on. And everybody had pagers for a while. I go, who needs to be paged that much? Though I have to admit, the pagers were very convenient. I remember I was single, and I had a pager. And I went on a couple of blind dates where the pager really saved my life. I paged myself. And I'm sorry, I've got to go. I've got an emergency at the hospital.
Get out of this one. But getting back to wearables, yes, I think I will do. But the main thing for me is, like I think everybody is how long is it going to last? You've got to get a watch, and now I've got this watch, and the battery will last me 3 to 5 years, and not do anything. I don't mind, say, each day, but I want to have one that can get up, put it on at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yes.
and put it there at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That's how I want a full 20, at
Yeah,
least
which
20
the Apple
hours
doesn't
to
do,
get
but a
out
lot of
it.
the Android ones do give you the long. A lot of them are giving you 2 days worth now on the Android, so that's not too bad.
I think the Android one might be the one I might go for because they're all tailored to a lot of different phones, not just whereas the iWatch is only is all to do with the iPhone and all
Right.
the accessories on there. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes when they eventually
How much
release
is
it. But it says about the end of April, I think it is. But I think they're expecting. Somebody was saying they've built about 5 million of them, and then other people are saying it might be the biggest flop ever. But,
Now, we were just showing one of the phones. Now, that's the one you found. Which one was that one?
which one was that? Sorry,
That was the
one,
Apple
yeah.
Watch. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Apple Watch because there was
Now-
Tim Cook's out he's selling it all the different
Now,
things that
see-
they do have.
I don't like square watches. The new ones, a lot of them are round now.
But they were saying as well they've got the Apple have got the gold one which will go for about 10 grand.
10 grand, and it's made out of gold.
Yes,
You
but
know how many
they
people
said-
are going to lose their wrists?
Well, I mean, it's no different to a Rolex, I suppose. But the thing is, with the Rolex, you can leave that to somebody when you die, and they've got some money. But I'm sure a phone like that's going to be worth half the price as soon
No,
as you've
because you
got
know what's
it.
going to happen. The minute they buy it, Apple will change the OS, which will not be compatible with it anymore.
Well, that's the thing. If you buy something like that, you really need a watch. If you're going to pay 10 grand, that you can clip the old one off
You
and
know,
clip it, make it designed so you can clip a new
I
version
have an old
on.
story about when you mentioned the Rolex. I used to have a Rolex President's watch. Now that's a $30,000 watch, and there was an IBM sales rep that was working with us, and he had the same one. And actually, I got mine after I saw his, and all of a sudden he goes, "You've got my phone." I go, "Yeah, you think?" And he goes, "Yeah, God, how much did you pay for it?" I go, "I got it probably a little bit cheaper than you did." And he goes, "Isn't it a great phone?" I go, "I mean, a great watch." I go,
What?
"I actually love it. You know, it's really classy and everything else." He goes, "Yeah, but it's so expensive." I go, "No. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of money. I paid $50 for mine." And he's like, $50. He had a $30,000 real one. Mine was a $50 knockoff. Mine
Yes.
looked as good as his did. You'd never know.
And that's the thing is, when people, when they pay that much money for them, all they want is a status symbol. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't, as long as it tells time. But if people think you've got a Rolex, wow.
But, you know, I traveled
That's-
overseas with it, and I was told, take that off.
Somebody will chop your hand off.
They will slice your hand faster than you can move.
Yeah.
I went,
Well, see,
"Hmm."
that's good. The society's changed now. You used to get told that wearing your Apple earbud because people will steal them, but there's other things just as equally as nice to steal now.
Yes.
So they'll just kill everybody. That's
true.
So it doesn't matter whether you got headphones on or not.
Yeah,
so.
I remember once being up in San Francisco on Post Street, which is a pretty busy street, and this Chinese guy was just walking around, and some guy ran right by him and ripped his watch off and kept going.
Oh.
It was instant. It's like, wow, that was pretty fast.
But some people, some places, I know I was in Paris, and that's really frightening there near the Eiffel
Mm-hmm.
Tower, where it's just you've got your hands on your pockets and somebody's trying to move your hand away from your pocket to get into it.
Really?
And you can feel them say, get away, and you smack. And they're that brazen that you think they're not sneaking about. They're just so if you just look away for a second, they've got you. So I think we're lucky, really. At least we can see them coming when you've got those sort of things. But
Yeah. Oh, by the
I
way, I
think
noticed that speaking of the down under and up over, you guys have gone down. You're now down to 30-cent difference on
Yes.
70 cents of the dollar. It's like, wow, what happened?
Well, what happened? Your economy started improving. It's not ours decreasing. It was just yours.
Yeah, and there's no excuse for ours improving. Our government's doing everything possible to ruin it. So it's hard to say
Well,
why we're going up.
I
But the
think it's because
euro is down to 92 cents per $1.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I don't know what's going on. Of course,
But-
we're artificially keeping the economy down because we're printing money faster than most people can think. There's a lot of money being printed. So if we were down to a real inflation rate, we'd probably be way over 100%.
But I tell you, with the dollar being down so much, it's very pleasing for a lot of the retailers and that here, because now people are buying here.
Oh, really?
Rather than online, because if you go online to an American store, which we're going and buying from, it's dearer than it is buying it here. And
so right now is a good time to go to Australia.
It definitely is, because you could live like a king. You've got, it'd be 30% cheaper than it was this time last year.
Wow.
So then again, everything's 30% dearer for you, so
Yes,
it just about evens out.
That's true.
But it's quite amazing the difference it can make. And we've here had the different agreements with the free trade agreement with Japan.
Right.
So now that's why I assume that's why my camera was cheaper than yours, or about this. Well, in comparison to the dollar changeover,
it was about the same. You actually were, I think, $200-300 cheaper.
Yeah, but with the way the dollar is, mine should have been. It would have worked out to about 2,600 American dollars, really. But here it's about the same. And
yours came with a free Japanese guy, though, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yes, by the way, don't send letters, don't send notes. That's a joke.
And a friend of mine looked for a lens, and we always usually look at B&H for this lens, and we got it cheaper in the Australian side.
Wow, that's amazing. And B&H is pretty reasonable.
But
now, we have a couple of videos, too, by the way. What video do we have?
We got a woodpecker with a chipmunk.
Okay, we got a woodpecker. You want to set the frame for this woodpecker and chipmunk scene?
Well, yes. Well, I was having a look on the thing, and I think millions of people have seen it by now. But just on the photography thing, and I came across this fellow in England who happened to capture a woodpecker with a weasel on its back. Anyway, here's the video.
It is a breathtaking picture. A green woodpecker in flight with a weasel riding on its back. It lasted just a few seconds, but enough to allow one amateur photographer to capture the image of a lifetime. Martin LeMay was walking with his wife here at Hornchurch Country Park yesterday when he reached for his camera after hearing a bird screeching.
When the bird was in flight, there was this sort of recognition that there was something on its back, and I suppose you start to first think something is interesting when it lands on the ground, and sort of this commotion continues. You realise that actually there is a weasel on the back of a woodpecker here, and it's just a fabulous picture. It just makes you feel wonderful.
Passionate bird watcher and television presenter Bill Oddie says he can't quite believe the woodpecker and weasel picture.
It's not impossible at all that a small rodent will have a go at much bigger prey. Anybody who's thinking, oh, take my camera, go out in the green space and I'll get photographs like that, you won't.
Martin has been taking photographs as a hobby for 15 years and thinks his woodpecker picture is the stuff dreams are made of. Despite the mid-air drama, Martin says both woodpecker and weasel managed to survive their memorable encounter. Neil Connery, ITV News, Essex.
Okay.
You know what? Just looking at that, I thought that was quite good. I'm just chuckling to myself. I'm just waiting for the video where you're seeing somebody super gluing the weasel to the woodpecker and they're taking a picture. I thought that'll be the scandal that will come out.
I think we call
next.
that air brakes. Yeah.
No wonder the woodpecker was looking a bit frightened. So.
That's right. They'll blame the weasel for being a bully.
That's right, but it's incredible how it got on there in the first place, isn't it? So,
it's funny,
and it just goes to show with photography, just no matter what you're taking, could turn out to be a good picture.
I know.
And with digital, at least we can afford to do that. With old film, you used to have to waste a fortune in processing to see that, but you can do 500 shots and get one out of it.
Well, that's the beauty of digital, too, because it's really, like they say, democratized photography for everyone, because you don't have to spend the fortunes on film that you used to. Mm-hmm. And if you're a bad photographer, you would go broke on film. If you're a bad digital photographer, it doesn't matter. You erase it.
No, that's right, and plus you can afford to get better. Whereas before you had to really have the talent, and only the talented could do it because they wouldn't waste a lot of money on extra film. But now somebody can do 10,000 shots and get better and experiment on different things and that. So I think I'm also in the hack range. I'll keep taking photos, but hopefully I'll get good one day.
Oh, you're pretty good at it, and we have one more video, I think.
I think what we did have, was probably the iWatch, I think, was it?
No, this is Apple's destroying credit cards.
Apple destroying credit cards.
That's right, yes, because that was another thing to the iWatch as well, I think. So let's have a look at that.
Unlike other payment solutions, Apple Pay is doing what in the payment business, what they did in the music business, and that means they will disrupt entirely the way we pay. They will disrupt entirely the credit card market, and they will have a significant revenue opportunities simply from Apple Pay.
Yeah, so we're starting to see an interesting trend where payments are really disappearing inside of applications. You think of an app like Uber, like Airbnb, like Hotel Tonight. Really, the payment experience has more or less become invisible. I think if you look at the world where we're in today in the United States, which is about the magnetic stripe, it's not very secure. If you're an enterprising fraudster, you can easily skim payment card credentials off of a magnetic stripe card. I think when you start to bring mobile into the picture, you add heightened security in a number of regards. First and foremost, the payment card credentials are secured in the cloud or on the device, not within your pocket, which is certainly an advantage. And so I think it's always fascinating when an industry gets to the point where the disruptors are now being disrupted, and that's absolutely the case in the payment space. When you look at a company like PayPal, the first alternative payment network to Visa and MasterCard, is now seeing its lunch being eaten by a number of companies ranging from nimble upstarts like Square to established tech giants like Apple and Google.
And we are back.
Yes, it's incredible though as well now with the Samsung's paying system seems to be getting off the ground. So it's going to be really good, and I'm really looking forward to when it comes to Australia because we can't use any of them yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how well they do fraud protection and everything else. So, or how many people are going to be stealing phones trying to get credit cards to go through the phone. Yeah, it's.
Well, the thing is, what I hear with the most of them, it's probably the best secure way of making a payment.
Yeah.
It's that thing that they having trouble with is the banks issuing the cards wrongly. Because if you go to a bank and say I'm me, and you get a card on mine, you can set it up to your Apple phone. But it said it's not the phone that's insecure; it's the bank's way of not being secure, just giving them access to an account. Where with that, the phones you need your fingerprint ID, and say like with the Apple Watch, you will be able to put your watch on there just to scan it. But as soon as it leaves your skin, it won't work anymore.
Right.
So unless they chop your hand, well, like you were saying before, they'll chop your hand and take your hand with it, and keep your finger good, so they could stick that on the fingerprint reader. But I think that only works in the films, doesn't it?
It works very well in the films.
That's what they do: get somebody's eye to get a retina scan or something.
So I have a quick question for you before we wrap it
Yes.
up. If you had to buy a new phone today, what would you buy?
I would buy the iPhone 6. I think.
Sorry, that's the wrong answer. The correct answer is the Windows 10 phone.
I know that's what you want, but that's the thing is I'm stuck into that ecosystem, and that's probably the only reason
break
I
loose,
want
though.
to.
No, Jeff, you can break loose. It just takes a little effort.
Well, that's right.
Your iPad and your iPhone and your iMac and your iSight camera and your whatever else. You can break out of that. You're already using an Intensity Pro card. That's not an iPhone thing. So you're doing all sorts of stuff. But that's funny. I don't know. I don't know if I'll like the Windows 10 phone, but I do like. I believe it or not, I never thought I'd be saying this. I actually like Windows 8.1 right now.
Oh well, that's good but
And the one I brought home, that computer I brought home 2 weeks ago, that was 8.1 from the office. It died on me.
It died.
It just crashed. And no real reason why. The hardware was good. I think the OS just crashed. But I think it had something to do with either the hardware or not sure what it was. But I brought a different machine home, was setting it up all last night, and that one runs really well, and that's 8.10. So I actually like 8.1. It's okay. It's sort of fun. I'm really looking forward to Windows 10.
Oh, me too. But getting back to the phone, me saying
Yes.
about I want to go for the iPhone 6 because I'm stuck in the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you were to analyze exactly what I use my phone for, it doesn't make a heap of a difference.
I know. That's like me.
I'm not integrated into it anyway. I use it for a bit here for a Twitter feed every now and then, the text message, a few photos. It really doesn't matter, but it's just the marketing's got me, I think.
Yep, it's good marketing.
That's what it is. But I'm really as was said before, I'm interested to get probably a new Windows machine as well as me Macs
Yep.
when the Windows 10 come out, because it does look quite
It looks
an
nice.
interesting, really interesting and
Yep.
nice and clean and smooth, and that's what I like with operating. So I don't like clunky ones, but it just looks really nice.
Also, when
and
you build you can
attractive
build
to
your own
work.
machine for a little effort. Just get one of those bricks, the gigabyte brick machines.
Yeah, and
They
do
look,
that.
They look
But-
so cool. I think that's what we're going to build next. Leslie
like
needs
you-
a new machine at work, and I think that's going to be the replacement.
But like yourself, it's not the specs on the machine, but it's how comfortable how enjoyable is it to work on it.
Yep.
And that's the thing. It could be a lesser spec, but if it feels comfortable, goes
That's
smoothly,
right.
you just and that's why I like the Macs, because I just like using them. They're no better than the other ones. I
No,
don't
no,
think
they're just
the
very
others
pretty.
and the other ones have got better specs, but it's a nice environment to work in. So hopefully the Windows 10 will do a good job as well.
Yep. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up our show. Thank you for being there in our audience. And if you're watching this on Vimeo, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching us on YouTube, follow us on YouTube, subscribe. We're in both places now, so you have your poison. Choose which one you like. And the views are starting to go up on, we had almost 200 views on Larry Jordan on the YouTube one.
Oh, that's good.
So that's
and
on
that's on
YouTube.
YouTube, so we must have 10,000 on there by now.
We may, I don't know. That just started. I haven't looked every day, but so it's starting to go back up on views, and YouTube's making it. Now we have to clean up our channel, make it look nice. They got rid of everything. We had a beautifully set up channel, and it was all, they converted and just killed us.
Oh, on YouTube.
Yeah, they just totally. I never got a notice from them either. Just converted. It's like, oh man. So our banners are gone. We have to create new banners. The sizes are different. I think their new look is really ugly. They used to look nicer, but things change. That's YouTube.
I think yes, but I think they did that ages ago, and it's the
They did.
sort of thing that keep changing. But they said if you don't do anything, we're going to convert it anyway.
That's
But
right.
nobody knew about it until
No,
it
we just got
happened, I don't
hit.
think.
Yeah. So anyway, well, Jeff, you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on Tech Down Over.
Okay, bye for now.